Hi there, and sorry for the absence last week. It was a busy week and I just couldn't get a video up. But here we are with a fresh new Q and A video. Great, great. Let's just get right on to the questions. Now, the first question comes from Elsa on Twitter, and she asked me, who are the biggest influencers in your art? And this is an easy question for me to answer. There are many influences, of course, but there's three major ones. And let's start with the most obvious one that you might have picked up in my art before. If you haven't, I have done a better job in concealing it than I thought, but well, here it is. It's Bleach. And yeah, what can I say? I just loved Bleach so much when I was younger. I still do. And honestly, if you look at the way I draw people in Riverbound, you can see Bleach in it. And no shame though. I'll be happy to fight anyone who wants to fight me over Bleach. I love this shit. It was so good. What can I say? It was the first bigger fandom I ever got involved with. I had been interested in stuff like Star Wars way before I ever heard of Bleach or even manga, but I never really got into the fandom, partly because I was like 10. And back then the internet was not a thing because I'm old, and when I was 10 it was like the 50s or something. It was not the 50s, I'm lying. But when I got into Bleach, I made so many new friends. I met a lot of cool new people, and yeah, what can I say? I still miss Caps Lock Bleach even this day. Oh man, Ichigo looks so weird in the first volume. Rukia looks most the same, doesn't she? She hasn't changed that much. Oh, she was so cute. Well, that's it for Bleach. In a similar vein, because I got to know this one around the same time that I got into Bleach. Here's an American comic artist who did like manga style comics, called C. Lijevsky. Sorry for butchering your name, I don't know how to pronounce it actually. But when I found her work online, it was roughly around the same time that I got into Bleach. I think she was in the Bleach fandom as well. And I was just so impressed by her inking that it inspired me to try and learn how to ink. Well, I never really got that comfortable. I can ink to some degree these days, but it's not something that I actively enjoy, so I don't really do it that often. But seeing her work was a big influence on why I started Light Romantic and why I started it as an inked comic as opposed to doing it in all colors. That would have been more natural for me. And that's it for the comic influences. Now let's move on to the world of fine art. And here it is. Hugo Simberg, a Finnish artist who lived in those years. Hugo Simberg is an artist that I think is very well known in Finland. Everyone knows these two works that I'm about to show you. Let's move my tea mug away a bit so I don't knock it over. This one is called The Garden of Death, and this is one of my absolute favorite paintings in the entire world. I just love it so much. It's this combination of funny and whimsical, and at the same time dark and green, because it's like death is just perfect for me. And this is a painting I think everyone in Finland knows and has seen at some point. But if they haven't seen this next one, let's see. This one they definitely have. This is called The Wounded Angel, and it's so well known in Finland. I don't know anyone who has never ever seen this picture in their lives. And if there are such people, honestly I'm really surprised. But anyway, I like this one too. But honestly, I just love this one so much more. It kind of reminds me of Terry Pratchett. You know, Terry Pratchett's death in the Discworld books. I can imagine him just tending to his garden, and I don't know, it's so cute, and at the same time it's kind of like reminds you of how short the life is, and something super deep like that. But I just like it because I think it's so cute, and it just fits my sense of aesthetics so much. And if I could find a good quality poster of this, I'd get it framed on my wall. If I could get the actual painting on my wall, I'd jump to the chance, but I'm afraid it's kind of out of my price range. But anyway, if you're into something like that, I highly recommend checking out Hugo Simberg. I don't know if he's actually known outside of Finland at all, but in Finland, I think everyone has seen those two paintings that I showed you. And anyway, I think he has influenced my sense of aesthetics and the reason why I like skulls and stuff so much. He's just a fab. Now moving on to the next question. Susanna Maria asks, what art-related schools did you attend? The answer to that is I went to this art club that was held once a week in my hometown, like an art school for kids. Was starting from when I was 6 or 7 years old to until I was 18 and moved out of Jyväskylä. And it was pretty great. It gave me a lot of like basic information about like color theory and composition and live drawing and stuff like that. But it was just once a week, and it wasn't an actual school. It was more like a hobby. But it was a good base, and the teachers, especially Sonja Vektomo, were really great, and I feel like I owe a lot to them, because it was always like the feedback was given in such a way that it encouraged you to keep drawing and draw more, and it was always like a positive environment. And I also made a lot of friends that at the club. I didn't have much friends at school because I was, quite frankly, not that much of a fun person to hang around with, because I was really bad at reading social cues when I was younger. I'm much better at it these days. Now I'm just a grumpy old person, so if I seem unpleasant, it's because of that. What else? Did I go to any other art schools? I did study to become a metal artisan at some point, like, you know, a blacksmith. It wasn't really an art school, like in a traditional sense, and the art teacher, like actual visual arts teacher we had at school, was absolutely horrible. He was kind of an abysmal teacher, but also sexist. Like, he was the sort of guy who started the lesson by telling us that in Italy all women wear high-heeled shoes, and why don't Finnish women do that too? And it was like, yeah, dude, you're supposed to teach us about color theory. This has nothing to do with that at all. So I opted out of those classes. I just couldn't take him. I got so angry all the time that I decided it was better for my mental health to just like, because I had gone to the art club that I talked about earlier, I could opt out of those classes and still get credit for them. So that was fine. Other than that, I'm actually an engineer by training, a media engineer, and I still do website design, web design for a living. I was actually up till 2 a.m. last night coding a website for a client, so sorry if I sound really tired because I actually am really tired. Well, yeah, other than the art club and the time I was studying to become a metal artisan, I haven't really attended any other art schools. I did take a course on live model drawing. What's it called in English? I don't know. Well, the kind of drawing where you draw a model in the nude a few years back, but it was just a short course and more of like a refresher on how how that stuff works, because I hadn't had the chance to do any in a great long while. But yeah, what can I say? I'm an engineer who does art. All right, the next question is by Ethan is stressing at Tas Atorelle on Twitter again, and they asked me, do you play D&D at all? Any cool characters to tell us about? No, I don't play D&D. I haven't played any role-playing games in my entire life. And that seems to be quite rare these days, since D&D is all the rage, which is kind of funny for someone who was born in the 80s and saw how that was just something that like super nerds did. But it's interesting. I don't really I see the appeal of role play for other people, but I don't really see it for myself. I don't do that sort of like storytelling with other people. It's not something that I'm very good at or very interested in. I did try to role play when I was like 13 or so with my friends. It was some sort of a cyberpunk game, I think, and we spent like 6 hours making our characters, and then in the end never got around to playing. I don't know why, we just never got around to playing. I think everyone was so bored of making those characters just gave up. I was 13. I don't know, I had no saying it. It was all my older friends at the time. But any cool characters to tell us about? Well, the character that I made in those 6 hours, it was some sort of like a medic, and I don't think it was very interesting. Only thing I can remember was that it was a medic, and I think they probably had like green hair or something. So yeah, I don't play D&D, and well, maybe it would be interesting to try out. I never had an experience like that before, so hey, if the chance comes, maybe I'll try it out. But it's not something that I'm actively interested in. More like oh, it seems everyone is doing it these days, so maybe I'll give it a go if I get the chance. Wu asks me, what are your favorite medium to draw in? And my favorite medium to draw in is digital art. I like drawing digitally because it's clean and easy, and I'm kind of a messy person. Like you can see, I have already these, I don't even know when these happened, pen marks all over my hands. And I like to doodle, like traditionally, like these sort of things. But when it comes to like doing actual finished artworks, digital art all the way. I do sometimes like to ink. I'm not very good at inking anymore because I haven't had practice in a long time, but if I ink, it's usually with like bottle ink and a paintbrush, a small paintbrush. and it can be relaxing sometimes, but yeah, mostly I just like to work on the computer. It's just so much easier for me. And moving on, Alan asks me to sing a song. You honestly don't want that. I have a horrible singing voice, and singing kind of hurts me these days because I'm allergic to dust, and there's dust everywhere all the time. So my voice is like this. You can hear my voice. It's breaking all the time and so on. And especially when I sing, it hurts my throat and lungs, and I don't like doing it. Also, I can't actually remember any songs. I remember one song, and it's not a song I'd have to translate the lyrics because it's a Finnish song, and I don't want so sorry, no song. Maybe I'll try and sing something. What can I sing? No, let's just skip this. Maybe another time. Maybe we'll go out for drinks one day, and then we can go to karaoke and we can sing a song there. I used to sing a lot when I was younger, but that was when I was younger, and I mostly just sang like old communist songs. And I can't remember the lyrics to any of those either anymore, so it's not easy. This is a happy looking cat. And then on to the final question. This is from Mai, and it goes, if you had a bun, what would you name it? And also, what are your favorite things to draw or paint? If I had a pun, I tried thinking about this last night actually, since I saw the question. And honestly, I don't have much experience naming pets. We've only had 2 cats. Our previous cat was called Ivala, and it was named. She was named after a Finnish town in northern Finland called Ivalo. Actually, Ivalo is the town, or is it like a municipality? Well, anyway, she was called Ivalo, and she was actually named by an ex-roommate of mine. And our current cat that we have now is called Bella. You have seen pictures of her, I'm sure. She's a very good cat, and she was also named before we got her, and she was adopted from the Animal Welfare Society, and her previous owner had named her Bella. It's actually supposed to be like from Bellatrix, I think, but she's just called Bella because it's shorter, I suppose. She was called Bella when we got her, and she was 2 years old already, and even though she doesn't really pay much attention to her name, it felt weird for me to try and change it. Bella is an alright name, so what can I say? If I had a bun, what would I name the bun? I don't know. I'd try to name the cat we named Ivalo after, or I tried to name her Teemu because it's a pun. Teemu kissa means inner T-mug in Finnish. And I thought it was funny, and that's my sense of humor, so I'd probably name my bun something slightly not an actual pet name like Mannerheim or something. So I don't know. I'd like to get a bun, but unfortunately I'm allergic to buns, so no buns for me. I'll just stick to drawing them. Buns are really cute, so I wish I wasn't allergic, so I could pet all the buns. But yeah, that's about it. I hope you can make any sense out of my answers, and I'll try and edit out the parts when I started rambling about whatever nonsense I was rambling about. And thank you for the questions, and well, I'll see you in the next video.